Welcome back to the Fanboy Cantina. These are our picks for the worst 5 movies of 2023. On this channel, we generally try to focus on the positive, or at least express things in a positive enough way. A common phrase, I wish I liked the show as much as someone else did. In this video, we're not doing that. This is our picks for the worst 5 movies of 2023. Before we dive into the 5, let's talk about 2 honorable mentions, or in this case, dishonorable mentions. One of them is Theater Camp. Theater Camp just did not work for me. I think that mockumentary format feels very tired in feature-length film format. Not all of the jokes landed, or for me, very few of the jokes landed. The child actors, fantastic, but this was not my kind of film, and I had to really tough it out to finish it. The other dishonorable mention goes to Rebel Moon. This is not Seven Samurai in space. It's not Magnificent Seven in space. It's not one of the crappy sequels to Magnificent Seven in space. There is not an original idea in this movie. It checks all the boxes of all the tropes in the sci-fi and fantasy genre. You can click on the link above to our longer review of Rebel Moon. Now let's dive into the 5 worst movies of 2023. At number 5 is Meg 2: The Trench. Did you see this movie? Post in the comments if you did, and what did you think of it? Meg 2 manages to forget everything that made Meg 1 entertaining and watchable. This movie is a mess. The storyline is incoherent. Jason Statham is in some other movie compared to the rest of the cast, and the visual effects are very, very rough. At number 4 is Ghosted. This movie feels like a producer secured Chris Evans and Ana de Armas first, put together a mediocre script second, and then everybody just phoned it in. The setup for the premise of the movie is extraordinarily long and fails to convince us that there's any chemistry between the two. The cameos in the movie are helpful only for the sake of making sure that you haven't fallen asleep yet. At number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Ukraine. This movie wants to be an edgy grindhouse film, and it seemed intriguing at first with this masterless samurai in medieval Ukraine. And if you can get past the non-Asian actor playing the half-Japanese Ronin and the really cartoony script, it's still the offensive tropes and overtones of this movie that completely sink it. It does have a few good fight scenes, but no. At number 2 is Night Train. This movie is supposed to be an action movie, but it's unfortunately glacially boring and unwatchable. You probably saw an image on one of the same streaming services as I did and inadvertently clicked on it just to check it out. I could not make it through this movie. And at number 1, my pick for the worst movie of 2023 is Bad Behavior. I saw this movie at Virtual Sundance. It stars Jennifer Connelly and Ben Whishaw. It got a bunch of hype, so I was intrigued. This movie is bad. This movie is the worst movie of 2023. It has 2 storylines that don't really pay off. There could have been an interesting story about mother-daughter relationships, but that doesn't happen. There is literally 2 minutes of watching people order breakfast. This movie feels like an intentional waste of the viewer's time. In fact, look at the poster. They're literally giving you the finger. There was a lot of talk about nepotism or nepo babies in 2023. And the only reason why there was hype or interest in this movie, I believe, is because the writer, director, and co-star, Alice Englert, is the daughter of Jane Campion. So, unlike Night Train, where it may have been a lack of experience or something else and any number of faults, this movie felt like a deliberate FU to the audience for watching. So those are my picks for the worst movies of 2023. Post in the comments, what was your least favorite? What was the worst movie you saw in 2023? As always, thanks so much for watching. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. This has been the Fanboy Cantina.